This video is based on the technical analysis of NASDAQ100, which we also refer to as USTech, and we're on the weekly chart. What we'll do in regards to the analysis of NASDAQ100 is identify the market structure, market patterns that we should pay attention to, key support and resistance levels, important candlestick patterns, as well as levels at which we should be looking for those potential buy and sell opportunities. Remember also that we're in earnings season, and yesterday we saw Alphabet, which is Google, Microsoft, Snap, as well as Spotify releasing their results. We saw that Alphabet actually saw their share price jump to about 7%. Microsoft slid by about 1% or so. Snap tumbled by 17%, and Spotify reported a wider than expected loss. And later on today, we have Meta also releasing their results. So all this will have a significant impact in regards to NASDAQ 100s, and we just need to make sure that we practice good money management today. And I think that especially on the lower time frames, we should expect the markets to be rather choppy, right? Also, remember that later on today we have the Fed releasing the interest rate decision, so it's going to be a tough day, guys, but we just need to make sure, as I said, that we practice good money management, and that we're ready for what's coming, right? Anyway, without wasting any further time, guys, let's get straight into the actual technical analysis. And as you guys can see, when the weekly chart, as I said, and on the weekly chart, guys, we can see that we actually have a very big structure here, which is a W formation. It started at that point, and ideally we want to see it end at that level in line with where it started. So what I'm saying in other words is that we still expect the market to move further up to around this level to complete that structure. Also, if you were to actually look at this area over here, right, and especially on the monthly chart, you would see that we have some liquidity candlesticks there. Basically what they are bullish candlesticks with small bodies and quite long upper wicks. And as you guys know, what that means is that we have a lot of liquidity stacked there. And as I usually say, guys, liquidity is actually money that needs to be triggered by the market at one point or another, right? Anyway, what else do we see in regards to the weekly chart, guys? On the weekly chart, we can see that we had this level over here. It was a very strong level of resistance, but now it's a very strong level of support, as we had multiple rejections in and around that area. And what we may see over the next couple of days or hours is price coming back to that level to give it a test, and at that level where that support level is where we may see the market continue to move further up, especially also because we actually have a very nice W structure over here. And if we were to go down to the daily chart, we will see that we actually have a very nice W structure over here. And as you guys know, guys, whenever we have these W structures, we want to see price break into the upside of that neckline, coming back to the neckline to give it a test. And generally speaking, where we have that neckline is where we look for those potential buying opportunities, especially if that neckline aligns with any key numbers that we have in regards to the Fibonacci retracement tool, right? Anyway, let's head down to the daily chart and see what's happening down there. Let's have a look. And just to recap, guys, remember I said to you guys that this is now a very strong level of support, and we may potentially see the market move further down to that level to give it a test. And at that level is where I believe we should be looking for those potential buying opportunities, especially if that level aligns with any key numbers that we have in regards to the Fibonacci retracement tool, right? Also, I said we have a very nice W structure here, right? And that whenever we have these structures, we want to see price breaking to the upside of that neckline and then coming back to the neckline to give it a test. And at that point is where we look for those potential buying opportunities. Now let's zoom in and see what else is happening in regards to the daily chart. What else do we see, guys? What else do we see? Another thing that I see that is also very much interesting or important is that as much as we have this structure, which is a W formation or a double bottom, we also have what seems to be a head and shoulders pattern here, right? With this side being the left shoulder, this being the head, and this being the right shoulder. And we may, as I said, guys, potentially see the market move further down to around this level. And as I said, at that level is where we may look for those potential buying opportunities, especially because we are indeed in an upward trending market, as you guys can see, right? But what else do we see on this chart that we should be paying attention to? At this point, I don't see much. I'm just going to head down to the H4 chart and let's see what's happening down there. And here we are on the H4 chart, guys. And just to recap again, remember on the daily chart we spoke about how we have that very nice W structure here, which has a neckline at that point, and we said we want to see price coming back to that level to give it a test, and at that level is where we should look for those potential buying opportunities. We also mentioned that we have this pattern, which is a head and shoulders pattern, with the side being the left shoulder, this being the head, and this being the right shoulder. And this head and shoulders pattern actually has a neckline more or less at that level, right? So ideally we want to see price, that's if we were to look for selling opportunities, breaking to the bottom side of that neckline, heading back up to the neckline to give it a test, and at that level is where we would look for those potential selling opportunities. However, because we're in an upward trending market, myself personally, I would not take this head and shoulders pattern seriously. And that is because, remember guys, if I can just go back to the weekly chart, on the weekly chart I spoke about how we have this huge W structure, and I said to you guys that it started at this point, and ideally we want to see it end at that level in line with where it started, right? Anyway, let's head back to the H4 chart. So what else do we see, guys, on the H4 chart? On the H4 chart we have this block over here, right? And in this block we can see that the market has been rather choppy, right, going up and down, up and down, up and down, and I don't really see any clear market structure in as far as this block goes, right? And the reason why this block has been, choppy is because of earnings season, right? Remember also that earnings trump technical analysis. So in other words, you could have perfect technical analysis and still be wrong 3 times in a row, and that is because, guys, earnings trump technical analysis. So we just need to be careful. But in as far as this block goes, myself personally, guys, I would love to see the markets actually move further down to this level, and at that level is where I would look for potential buying opportunities, right? And if this level does not work, I will then again wait for the market to reach this level, and at that level, which is where we have that neckline of that huge W structure. And yeah, as I said, at this point is where I would look for those potential buying opportunities, right, especially on the lower time frames. But in as far as actual buying or selling opportunities go at this point, I don't see any. And as I said, we have the market being choppy at this in this block rather, and also we can see that within that block actually we have what seems to be an M structure over here with a neckline over there, right? To add to that, we also have what seems to be an inverted head and shoulders pattern forming there. So as I said, guys, buying or selling within this block is actually very tricky, and myself personally, I'd rather wait for the market to actually move down to the low of the day or the low of this period, and at this point is where I would look for those potential buying opportunities. And if that does not work, I would then wait for the market to reach this level, and at that level is where I would look for those potential buying opportunities.